And we are live.
Man, I started talking right over the intro, man. I'm such a novice, Will.
Well, what were you saying?
I was saying, welcome to the pre-sales call with LifterLMS. You got me and Will. We'll be here for the next, hour or so, answering your questions live with all things, obviously LifterLMS, but some things WordPress. And if you've got a question, we would encourage you to drop it into the comment wherever you're watching this from, and we'll get you involved in our stream here. And we'll look at some of the questions that come in on our other social channels as well, and we'll fill in the time and try and be as informative as possible.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I guess we do have some preloaded comments from questions we got in the last week. So anyone watching live, feel free to drop a comment if you have any questions about LifterLMS, and we'd be happy to dive into that. And with that, let's dive into some of our previous comments from the week. And our first comment was from our Facebook group. Hi guys, just wondering if anyone has a solution for the issue. Gmail seems to block the initial sign up, login, welcome email that's sent to customers. No other email platforms block them. Any idea why this might be happening and how to fix it? Thanks in advance. So
Google is evil.
Google is evil. I guess that is an answer that that answers the Gmail specific thing. I'm trying to think of like Gmail specific issues that I've had before. I don't know if I've had that kind of Gmail specific blocking happen to me before.
I've been through this, Will. It used to be with me, and I'm going to show my age, Hotmail. Hotmail used to dump all of my stuff in spam or just block it all together. And I was super frustrated, couldn't figure out why. Gmail would go through, Hotmail would not. Then Outlook.com came out. Thank goodness so many people upgraded to Outlook instead of Hotmail. Things started to work there. And still to this day, I'll have some customers with an AOL account or a Hotmail account, and it'll still not go to their inbox. And dude, my URL's been in place now since 2007. So it's not a domain authority or unknown domain issue. It's really hard, especially when you are, I use my email both in my email client, but also through my CRM tool. So then I noticed sometimes my CRM tool will deliver when my email client usage will not deliver, right? And so then you have to ask yourself, so what is it? Is it because the SMPT servers are so much better that you're using with your CRM tool in your WordPress thing? And we've talked about this multiple times. And a lot of cases that's correct, because you're using someone else's email server that might have a better reputation or a better whatever than your other channel. Hopefully I'm not making any sense. I know that people that don't know what we're talking about are confused right now, but I don't think there is a real answer to this. I think that sometimes I've heard people say you can extend your URL expiration because it gives you more domain authority. I've heard people say that you can talk to your host about getting on a different shared server if you're on a shared server that's maybe got a bad reputation for some reason. And when I say bad reputation, I just mean it's been marked as a spam source in the past.
Yeah, I think that's probably the lead to check in on. Whenever you're sending emails from your website, there's all kinds of IP addresses involved. Like Kurt mentioned, the IP address of your domain. Is your domain authority messed up? And that could be like a previous owner of your domain might have messed it up, or the server that you're sending your emails from your website might be on a shared server, and then someone else had done spamming on that server. So then Gmail wrote down that server. They're like, okay, this server IP address, whatever this IP address is, has had problems. So Gmail has decided that somewhere along the line, Gmail has decided that one of the IP addresses involved in sending that email is problematic. So that's what I would think there, as to why Gmail specifically would have a block and other SMT or other services might not.
Now, if I could just go one step further in this conversation, Will, because it's going to come up. Someone's going to ask. We might as well just address it. I used to use a bargain basement shared hosting platform. I'm not going to say them by name because everybody knows the name, so you can figure that out. But when you have a shared hosting account, you're sharing hosting with other sites, other domain names, other things. And so sometimes the activities of others can affect the outcome for yourself. And so as much as you don't want to pay $30, $50, $70 a month for hosting, if you're going to run a business on your website and that business creates revenue, and part of that revenue is dependent upon you having reliable communication with the outside world, sometimes it's best just to bite the bullet and make that investment up front and get better hosting.
Right. And what does it mean to get better hosting? Like, that's a good question. And one that we answered on a webinar recently is like, what is good hosting for an LMS website, for a WordPress website, for a website that's doing dynamic content? I just learned recently, just this last week, what the difference is between shared, dedicated, and managed hosting. Those are terms that had been thrown around in the industry, and you go to a hosting provider's website, they'll describe them in somewhat vague terms. But I was really grateful to sit down with Christos from Presidium and really dive into what each of the differences are. And it seems like managed hosting is what you'd want for a dynamic LMS website, running something like LifterLMS with logins and things like that, different visibility, different memberships, quizzes, and all that kind of stuff going on. And I don't know, Kurt, have you had like those experiences with like a shared host? I mean, I know you've had these experiences with clients, shared hosting versus managed hosting, and what the different types of experiences are with those platforms. I've had tons of different experiences. I don't know why certain experiences are bad and certain experiences are good, but now I have a little bit of a breakdown as to like what's going on a server level and how does that contribute to my LifterLMS problems.
And I think you and I are two very different people. I think my attraction to a host or a host source is different than your attraction to a host source. So a lot of times I look at my use case and who I'm helping and who my customers are and what my projects are. And if I'm honest, these projects don't have traffic. You know, I'm very blunt about it, right? There's a lot of projects that get built that just don't get the traffic that causes people to say, well, I need this really awesome hosting that can do 100,000 concurrent users at the same time. I'm just not in that. I'm not in that ballpark. What I need is like, and I'll just call them out by names because I think that they were really good at what they did. I thought Cloudways was phenomenal, right? But I had to it didn't have an interface to add email accounts natively. You had to do the add-ons, and then you had to have a Rackspace account, and then you had to, use Elastic Email to send your emails, so there was a setup to it. There was work to be done. Whereas when I made the decision to be a reseller, a hosting reseller as an agency, I was like, well, what are my choices? And I looked at this, a fairly new player in the market, 20i, and I enjoy it because if a customer wants email, I can give them email. If they want to add something besides WordPress, we could do that. But for the most part, all of my clients are on a WordPress managed host. It's set up very much for WordPress. It doesn't cache the living crud out of everything. Everything seems pretty reliable, and I've been pretty happy on it. A friend of LifterLMS and someone that you and I both interact with quite often is Jonathan over at WP Tonic. And he's got a really awesome, WordPress managed structure that also gives his clients access to certain tools that normally would be a premium cost. So that ends up, being a use case that's really good for folks because maybe they want the Fluent CRM connection, or maybe they want the Elementor or the WooCommerce and some of the add-ons that go with Woo that they don't want to pay for out of their pocket. They want it as part of their hosting package, and then it makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And this is the webinar. I'll put a link in chat here.
You and Christos did a really good job on the show, by the way. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was there were some audio issues at the start, but I was glad that it was a hot button topic that a lot of people seem to enjoy. Which hosting is right for an LMS? Typing in the chat and talking at the same time is becoming more difficult for me. I don't know if that's
a sign of age.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe a sign of age. But we did have another question come in here. Let's highlight this. Hi all, I need a WordPress WooCommerce plugin that allows me to restrict customers to buy specific courses on my LifterLMS website. In more practical terms, I have continuous professional development website where professionals obtain points. And I have 3 products where I select training materials for them. Okay. And sometimes the training material overlaps with a course. The result is that when they buy the training material twice, then I needed to refund them. I used shipping and payment gateway plugin in the past, but these gave issues. Any recommendations? So I guess the recommendation here, just so I wrap my mind around it and understand the setup we're trying to create, is we're trying to use LifterLMS and WooCommerce to restrict which courses people can buy on the website, because they're taking training material and earning points and stuff like that. So it seems like there's a lot of elements going on here. There's like the buying of courses, there's the points, and then there's like the personal coaching where we're selecting and training material for them. I don't know, Kurt, what do you make of that question out of the gate?
It sounds like there's courses available a la carte, and then there's courses that are getting bundled in a membership or like a package, like WooCommerce put a package together, like get this bundle of courses. And what it sounds like is somebody can buy this bundle of courses, but then inadvertently also buys a duplicate course as an a la carte product.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting from that. And so in WooCommerce, so like Lifter out of the box without WooCommerce, there's safeguards to keep people from buying the same membership or the same course twice.
Yeah.
But in WooCommerce, I believe somebody can buy the same thing more than once, right?
The Lifter access plan should restrict them, but if you're not enrolling them in the course, if maybe they're just sending them materials via private areas, they're just maybe downloading a PDF, then that wouldn't work.
Yeah, it is unique. It's kind of like, I was trying to, when I first read this, I was thinking, well, is this a prerequisites kind of a thing? Or is this a, you must complete this before you get this? You know, like you can't sign up for this unless you've completed, you know, this track, right? This course track. But it seems like I don't, because I'm still locked on the whole idea that out of the box with LifterLMS, the same client with the same email can't buy the same product twice.
Right.
So I'm kind of confused as to what's happening here, unless the representation of the product in WooCommerce is not actually an access plan.
Yeah, I think that might be what's going on if they're buying the same product twice. And maybe this is an issue with their other LMS or something they had been using in the past to deliver their training that they don't want to replicate with Lifter, because Lifter does have that fail-safe in place. So if we were to...
now, you and I have both had clients that have asked to have that safeguard removed.
Yeah.
Right. So the people that want to like buy another membership and gift it to somebody, or there are reasons that people would want to remove that safeguard, but I've usually found removing that safeguard creates other problems, like people buying stuff and needing refunds.
Right. And so that would just be something where I would change the structure of how we're selling the product and marketing what there is. Like maybe instead of delivering them a PDF, we enroll them in the course, so that when they're enrolled in the course, and then since I just enrolled myself in this course, if I try to access the purchase link, it should tell me you already have access to the course, visit your dashboard. And a similar message appears in WooCommerce. So
the other thing, and I'm just spitballing here, Will, is if the course is meant to be part of a bundle, right, but people buy it a la carte by mistake, just hide it from the course catalog. Don't have a product for the a la carte course, and only make it available as part of the program.
Right. Yeah. I think that makes sense. So if you have like the membership that people will buy, they get access to all the courses. I mean, maybe this coach is not trying to overwhelm the students by giving them access to everything, but I think it's a good point, just to have the courses basically be the materials themselves. And maybe it requires breaking the courses down into a few smaller courses that are assigned to students individually. That might be a thing. Like Kurt mentioned, course tracks. That is a valuable tool that not a lot of LifterLMS users work with. Under, not there, on the back end of my demo website, if I go to courses, I have an option for tracks. And tracks allow you to set multiple courses within a track, and then you can give a certificate if someone were to complete all the courses in the track. So on my sample website here, this is let me look at what this demo site even is. We have a couple different templates. This is the school, this is the business one, and I messed it up by switching the theme. But Sparkle Zone Trading Hub. So I guess this is a detailing car training website. So there's a manager's track, an owner's track, and a team member's track. So there would be different types of users interacting with the website, and we could create a course track for each of them, and we could create a membership that would enroll users in each course in the track, for example. So it would be sort of, if you're involving direct coaching in with courses, I think that's a big use case that we don't talk a lot about. Like, what do you do? What are the best practices for LifterLMS when you're incorporating one-to-one training and passive courses at the same time on the same website? Like, what does that even look like, and what would be the best ways to do that? Because, I don't know. Kurt, do you think we could outline maybe some of the best practices or maybe suggestions that we have for managing live training? Have you seen any like failures or things that we don't want to reproduce with that kind of setup versus ways that we'd want to go about creating that?
Well, live training is such a, man, it's like a rattlesnake, right? So you grab a hold of that tail and hope it doesn't spin around and bite you. It's like you and I are doing live training right now.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not on the site. It's, we're leveraging a third-party tool to bring people's eyes and ears to content where we can help educate them. So that's one way, right? And so you can link live events to your website. But if we want to be more formal and have more of a hybrid training example, I do a lot with live meetings embedded right inside my WordPress website. And you can embed those live meetings into the course and lesson structure. So there is a way to like have a static course with content, right? And then clone that course and then add additional lessons that are actually your live meeting dates, and then run those like cohorts. I've seen a lot of people do that very successfully.
Yeah, that's a really good way to integrate it. And I think having that separate tool to integrate, like maybe Zoom, or we're using StreamYard. You mentioned another tool before.
Oh, there's Whereby, there's Jitsi, there's WP Stream. So you could actually take a live session like this with WP Stream and embed it right into your site.
Right. Yeah. So having that separate tool for the live training component, I think, is important to base the live component on it rather than trying to put it into Lifter somehow, because Lifter's not really designed for it.
Yeah.
The live component. So yeah. So we had Marcus Carter join us again. Hi guys.
Marcus Carter, shout. He's like a celebrity guest now.
Yeah, he is. I think we have an LMS cast with Marcus Carter, so he's a celebrity guest for sure. Petra here in the chat. Hey guys, I just downloaded the plugin and I'm at the very beginning of the process. Single use, no WooCommerce. I think the call's too early for me. First, I need to understand the basics. Thanks for your efforts, but I'll leave. I guess, these calls are kind of for anyone who's interested in learning anything about Lifter, whatever Q&A we have. I guess we start off the calls with Will digging up difficult questions from the Facebook group, but any questions that you guys have, nothing's too basic for this call, so feel free to drop anything in chat.
This call is actually meant as pre-sales. It's meant for absolute beginner questions. However, like Will pointed out, a lot of questions come to us that are more involved, and we'll tackle those. But it's so funny, Will, because I look now as like, install WordPress, install the plugin, launch the build wizard, right? The installation wizard, and then put in a sample course, because we've got those 3 samples as part of the launch wizard. And it's almost like it's just spoon fed to you. Like once you've been doing it for a while, it looks easy. But I think you and I could almost forget kind of like that apprehension or that overwhelming sensation of like, oh crap, how does this even work? But for me, start out with an outline, put your outline in as the names of your lessons, and then just add your content to your lessons, and you've got a course.
Right. And that's one product suggestion I had, was to build a streamlined course builder where you could almost go through a setup wizard, just like the cohorts thing is super popular. The cohorts add-on that LifterLMS just released, and it basically streamlines the process of cloning and modifying your course cohort. Doing that for initial course setup would be pretty cool, and it wouldn't require a lot of custom functionality. But Marcus had a question here in chat. I've seen somewhere display course reviews. Could you go over that, please? Absolutely. So LifterLMS has a course review function. You may have seen it under courses in the sidebar, reviews here at the bottom. I don't know if I have any reviews on my website. I don't. But if we did want to enable reviews for a course, what that would look like is when we edit the course, and then I scroll down to the general options, somewhere in the middle. Here it is. We have this blue bar that has all kinds of stuff, and I think reviews is on here. There it is. Reviews. We can enable reviews, and if we enable reviews, click update and then view my course. I'll view it in a new tab here. Scroll down. People who are enrolled in the course will have the option here to write a review. So you can say, great course. Really enjoyed lesson 5. So they can leave a review and let's just say thanks for your review. But then if you wanted to display the review, you could do that. If you didn't want to display the reviews, you just wanted to collect testimonial feedback, you can collect that feedback and it'll appear here on the back end of your website for you as a website admin to do whatever you want with. You could put it in the front end of your website as a testimonial, whatever you want to do. But if you did want to automatically display these reviews, that's where the second option comes in here, display reviews. If you check that box, what's going to happen is those reviews that are left on this course will automatically be displayed right here. So since I checked display review, it's going to just populate it right here on the course. And so you can also check an option to prevent multiple reviews. So users can only leave one review for the course. So if I were to check that box and click update, reload, I'm not able to leave a review because I've already left a review. It says thanks for your review. I only get one. So those are the few options around reviews in LifterLMS and courses. So you can either just collect feedback from your students, you could collect and display that feedback, or you could just have a single point of feedback for each course per student.
How many projects have you used that feature on?
0.
Same for me. I was thinking something was wrong with me.
I don't know. Like it's a really cool feature, and it was one of the initial features. Like Chris actually told me about this. We were talking about it the other day. That one of the earliest LifterLMS developers, they hired that as a test project to write a review process like that. I don't really use it that much. I haven't used it at all, and it's so cool in my mind to collect the reviews in that way. And I'm sure that if you have a lot of users going through your website, it would be cool to collect reviews in that way. But at one point, I remember there was a request for like a star system, like a star review system, and then those star reviews would be shown on the course catalog.
Yeah,
that was in development, but I don't think anything came of that yet. But yeah, it's a cool system. I understand. How would I display it on another place in the website, such as a testimonial? Good question. Let me see, lifterlms.com/docs/shortcode. Let me see if there's a shortcode, because for some reason in the back of my mind, I've had the idea that reviews are possible as a shortcode. Course reviews, number 13. Yeah, here it is. So if you wanted to display all of the reviews for a certain course on maybe your sales page, this would be an option to do that. You just copy the shortcode, and then you would put it maybe on your sales page. So if I have my sales page, what is this, the LifterLMS Quick Start course? LifterLMS Quick Start sales page. I'm making a custom sales page. You should buy the course.
you should buy this now.
And then we have a...
If not who, if not you, who, if not now, when? Hey, I don't know if this is for you or not, but just for fun.
I still carry that card around from WordCamp San Diego. But yeah, so here's LifterLMS course review. So if I imagine I go to Pages, Add New, and I'm building a sales page for my course, this is a good tutorial for people. So you can create a custom sales page by linking to the access plan. So I think I have a free sign up. And each access plan, this says sign up for free, but I could do payment if I wanted, but we'll just say it's free. I can copy my purchase link and put it on my sales page here, or my buy now button. Return. So people will see my course reviews, and I should put a course ID in here, because if I don't, it's going to be blank. My course ID is always in the URL bar. For me, it's 5027. Always in the URL, you'll see what the host ID is, or the course ID. So I can view my sales page, and now I've got basically the reviews for that course displaying on my sales page. And my sales page is pretty bad because it was made in about 30 seconds. But if you put more effort into it and style it up, you could do that maybe with some CSS, or put a background on it, make it a little bit more interesting for the sales page. That's a possibility. Otherwise, I would just take the review that you see on the back end of the website as the admin. So if you go to courses reviews and you see that someone left a review here, with the short code that I just demonstrated, it's going to take every review from that course and show it on that page. So if you're going to have a lot of reviews, I think Marcus's course has like a ton of people in it. So if you're going to have a lot of reviews, I'd recommend just manually selecting, hand picking a few reviews that you like, and then formatting them in like a WordPress testimonial block or whatever. WordPress has like a block for testimonials, and you could just copy and paste the feedback you see here into your testimonial block. So that would be good. Awesome. Marcus said, thank you for that one. No problem. And then Petra said, so a beginner question, what is the API number? Struggling with that. Is it possibly the free one or is it only paid? So API number, APIs are usually going to be for like the Stripe extension, for example. If you bought LifterLMS Stripe, I should go to the website, LifterLMS Stripe. If you were to get the LifterLMS Stripe extension, that one's going to ask for some API keys in the back end of the website. And so an API key is basically just a long string of numbers that allows two applications to talk to each other. So like you have your WordPress website with LifterLMS and Lifter Stripe installed, and you would sign up maybe for a Stripe account, free Stripe account, and then they would give you an API key that you would put in the back end of your LifterLMS website so that LifterLMS can talk to Stripe, and whenever there's a purchase on your website, it can send the money to Stripe. It just coordinates the communication. It's like a password that the two applications have that they can talk to each other with. That's like an API key for LifterLMS Stripe.
And to be more clear, what Will just described is taking the API from Stripe and adding it to LifterLMS as a checkout item. But the API for LifterLMS comes with the free core version. You don't have to have a premium version or anything to get your API. But then the question is, what are you connecting that API to? Because you'd want to, if you're asking for like a CRM to have access to Lifter, or if you're asking for something else to have access to Lifter, you might want that API code from your LifterLMS site. But in most cases, you're connecting something else's API code to Lifter.
Yeah, like if you have a ConvertKit account or something like that. ConvertKit would use an API key. MailChimp does the same thing. So PayPal is possible. Yeah, PayPal would use an API key as well. And so the LifterLMS PayPal extension or LifterLMS Stripe extension, they are paid from LifterLMS. So with your question there, is it free or paid? The PayPal extension is a paid add-on from the LifterLMS store, and that's the plugin software itself that you'd install on your website, and then you'd go to your PayPal account. PayPal is free to sign up. PayPal, it's sort of free. Like it's free to get started, but then you're paying 30 cents plus 3.7 or 2.9% on every transaction, and so they get their money on the back end. And with Lifter, it's upfront. Lifter doesn't take a cut of your payments. It's just like a licensing fee for the software, whereas PayPal is going to take a percentage of each of your transactions. I usually prefer to pay the licensing fee for the software because I'd so much rather pay PayPal like $3,000 a year rather than the percentage of my transactions. But there's no option with PayPal. You just kind of have to pay the transaction fee. And it makes sense because they're going to pay part of that fee to their distributor, like, the credit card companies or whatever. They're not getting that entire fee themselves. They're breaking it up. So it makes sense for a payment processor to work like that. But at Lifter, it's just the licensing fee, and Lifter doesn't take a cut of the sale at all. So, and the PayPal extension is just, I think it's 120 US a year. So it's, I said 3,000 just because I like the margins are like, I'd so much rather give that rather than 3%. But that's just like a marginal thing. So LifterLMS PayPal is just $120 a year. I didn't mean to make it sound like that one's expensive, like $3K. But yeah, Petra said, great, thanks. Understood. Can I combine design elements with LifterLMS? I'm using Blocksy theme and Stackable. Very cool. I guess, Kurt, have you had experience with Blocksy or Stackable? I don't believe I have.
No. I haven't. So design elements with LifterLMS, I always get confused when people say, because there's the Lifter blocks, right? In Gutenberg, there's the Lifter specific blocks, or if you had tangible elements, you'd have Lifter specific things. But I'm curious as to know, like, what are the design elements other than using short codes that somebody's trying to use.
Yeah, I think I've heard the Bloxy theme name thrown around a bit. I think it's a newer one. Yeah. I saw this on a paid memberships pro stream. Yep, it's coming back to me. So this is
Coming back to me now.
It's coming back.
And then what is stackable? It's just the page builder?
Yeah, it looks like it adds supercharged blocks for Gutenberg.
Yeah, so I'm used to using a tool like Spectra, and I know that you're used to Cadence blocks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably a similar setup.
Yeah, so like these, I love the Gutenberg block editor, the WordPress block editor. So I think you're getting a good direction with these tools here. Sticking with the block editor and then modifying that. I don't need to miss an update. Okay, or I don't want to opt in for that. So I got the Bloxy theme, and I already had my website formatted with a certain theme, so it might look a little strange for now, but yeah, okay. I could reformat it and design it up. They have a design library. So yeah, this looks very similar. Yeah, just like what me and Kurt are used to with Spectra is I guess a competitor to this. So they have like an accordion block. They just have some more heavy duty blocks that WordPress doesn't have out of the box. So I think this would be a solid tool to use with Lifter. I like things that are based in blocks. So using a block theme, and is this a full site editing theme? Let me see. Theme, oh no, it's not a full site editing theme yet. But full site editing is where you would use blocks to edit your header and your footer and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be a solid way to go. And especially, I remember seeing it on the PM Pro stream. So if PM Pro's into the Bloxy theme, then it'd be pretty good. And yeah, I'll dive in if we have some time. I'll dive into just playing with that a little bit more. Marcus Carter, I have another question here. For the title of my courses, by default, when I try to write, it's white, so I can't see it for the life of me. I think that's a Cadence thing. Marcus, could you confirm in chat, is that a Cadence theme you're working with? I remember that kind of issue happened to me before.
I remember that happened to you on one of these calls.
Yeah.
You were like, I can't see nothing.
Yeah, and it does type the title, but I feel like
he's in Cadence.
I thought I reported this at course. It's working now. But yeah, that was a Cadence thing that I remember a while back. It seems like it's working now. I don't know, maybe if I'm on a different version or something. Maybe if I edit my title or something.
I can't remember the exact circumstance to duplicate.
Yeah, I can't remember the circumstance either. Because I remember, I thought I reported this to them. I'm on, I think, the latest version, 1147. Yeah, I can't remember.
And he follows up and says the top menu is all messed up.
Oh, is that like the like something like this? Maybe I don't know. Is that like the front end menu or the back end menu? I think I could find a solution to this problem here. I think this is if this is the problem, where like you have the it's like no margin going on.
Yeah, like there's no spacer between the header and the body.
Yeah. And I thought, I haven't opened up Cadence in a while. Ever since SkyPilot came out, LifterLMS SkyPilot, I've been using that nonstop. So I've lost touch with this Cadence stuff.
Yeah, well, the good news for me is due to my work environment, it looks like I'll be becoming a Cadence expert here in the very near future.
Nice. I don't think this is going to fix it. What did that do? Oh, I see. I'm changing. It would go over to the side menu. I thought it was a sticky header thing or like a transparent sticky header, but I have those turned off, so it can't be that. Logo, buttons, design, header background. Like it's not this. Or is there anything in design? No, that looks fine. Man, the customizer, since I'm like in between the full site editor interface
Yeah.
The back end is cut in half. I'm between the full site editor and the customizer. For anyone who's new to WordPress, the classic themes had this customize option right here under appearance customize. That's how you would edit your theme styles, like your header and your footer and widgets and things like that. But now the full site editor is becoming more prominent, and the full site editor is where you would use the WordPress blocks, like the paragraph block and the columns block and all that stuff that we use on pages. You'd use them in your header and footer to design those. And the LifterLMS Sky Pilot theme works with that. So the back end is cut off. So the back end menu is cut off, maybe for editing a course. Yeah, that's strange. I wonder if maybe there's too many widgets here or something like that. Too many things going on. One thing that might be worth checking out without being able to take a look at it is the preferences. In the backend editor here, you can do options and then preferences. And this is where we can turn off certain elements. So if we want to disable certain panels, because there's so many panels here on the right sidebar, we might want to disable some of these, or we might remove like course options, or we probably don't want to remove the course builder button, but we might be able to do something here with preferences to fix that menu in terms of spacing. I'm not sure with the menu being cut off what that would be. Maybe it's a CSS thing. If there's any custom CSS on the website, it might be applied to the back end of WordPress as well. In WordPress, you can add custom CSS. If you want to add some styling code, you could add some custom stuff. And that sometimes the CSS isn't written to only apply to the front end of the website, and it also applies to the back end of the website. I've seen that happen, and that might be cutting off a menu or making it look weird on the back end. Gigglehead55 on YouTube. Hi, how are you? We're doing well. Doing well today, doing LifterLMS demos, and yeah, let me switch back over to the familiar territory with the Sky Pilot. It's funny how Launchpad and Sky Pilot, like, this is a cool historical thing. Is the Launchpad theme is a theme that LifterLMS launched back around the inception of the product, like almost a decade ago, where like there weren't a lot of themes that supported LifterLMS. Mark said, thanks for trying. Well, yeah, no problem. Sorry, I couldn't reproduce like exactly what the issue is there. It might be like a plugin conflict. In that case, if you really want to get to the bottom of it, I'd recommend creating a staging website and then disabling plugins and I'm assuming it's a theme issue. The first thing would be to switch the theme temporarily. Just confirm that it is a theme issue, because it might not be. It might not be an issue there. It might be an issue with a plugin. So if you switch the theme and the issue solves itself, you know it's a theme conflict, and then we could disable plugins on the staging website to say, okay, maybe it's a plugin conflict between the code snippets plugin and the cadence theme, and just kind of isolate what the issue is for formatting, because I wasn't able to just reproduce it out of the box, unfortunately. It might be an update issue. It might be a CSS issue. A few areas to explore there. But Launchpad, the Launchpad theme uses it. I was talking about the customizer, but there's even an older style of doing things that this, I don't know, Kurt, if you remember this, I'm sure you do, that where themes would design their own areas in the back. And it was before the customizer. Each theme would look different, and it would look something like this, where you would have the header area, the footer area, is where you do your footer styling. Like this is like an even older interface.
I remember.
And I like to look back at the stuff and see like how far we've come with the customizations and everything.
I remember having to go into the different editors to change things. Like the background color was in the editor. You had to change the hex code in the file editor, and you always got those warnings, be careful, you are editing a file that is blah 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 blah. But that was like way back when. That was how you had to customize stuff. Yeah,
like change the hex codes in editing your theme. I don't think the file editor is exposed on this demo site, but yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, could you say why you'd recommend switching to Sky Pilot? What are the advantages or disadvantages?
Because it's awesome, because it looks great, because it's fast.
Yeah, I think the
I'm having fun, Marcus. Just ignore me sometimes.
I jump to the back and I've opened up too many tabs. Let me switch over to the Sky Pilot theme again. The Sky Pilot theme is like a block theme. So it uses the full site editing framework, where instead of the customizer, you have the appearance editor area. And this area does change frequently, so it's still somewhat cutting edge where you're using the full site editor to design things, but it's the way of the future. It's the way WordPress is going. So probably in about 5 years from now, most themes are going to be supporting the full site editor and working with that framework. The nice thing about full site editing themes is that if you were to use the SkyPilot theme, for example, and then in 3 years you want to change themes to use another one, you wouldn't have to rebuild your headers and footers and navigation and everything from scratch. Like if you were to make the switch from Cadence to Astra or Cadence to SkyPilot, you're going to have to rebuild your menus. You're going to have to restyle your menus, make sure the background is white, use the new interface to build it. But this is like a far future thing where we're saying like when you switch themes, you shouldn't have to rebuild all your stuff because everything's going to be built in blocks in your header and footer. So if you were on the Cadence theme, it would be built in blocks. If you're on the Astra theme, it's also built in blocks. So you can just switch themes. And so themes would not really control the header and footer as much as they currently do. And they wouldn't control the sidebar as much as they do. It would be a block-based thing. And then the theme would determine basically it would be a style sheet. It would be like a CSS style sheet is like what the theme would come down to, is it would have some styles for your blocks. And even the styles will probably be abstracted out of the interface in like 10 years. So like the blocks themselves will have the CSS and you would download a block pack. So if you saw somebody's website on like one of those marketplaces and you're like, I like this testimonial block or I like this slider block, you would just download that block specifically or buy that block pack or Spectra or whatever. And then you wouldn't need to be dependent on your theme in order to have that styling for your website. So it's kind of moving away from themes is the idea of the full site editor. I think if you have a product that's working, if it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. So if you're already, working well with Cadence and you have your students coming in and you have all your groups and everything styled up, there's not really a need to switch. But if you're facing friction, if you're wanting to do a design overhaul, it might be worth opening up a staging website on your host and then switching to the SkyPilot theme and seeing what there is you could do. Also, you might be able to email Kurt, help@lifterlms.com, and ask for a demo website. He might be able to hook you up with a LifterLMS demo website where you could test out the SkyPilot, like the demo that I'm looking at here.
That's a really good idea. And I just want to give you a shout out, Will. I like that you were really transparent there. Like if you're in Cadence or Astra or sometimes Hello or like any of these like top-notch, really well-known, well-used, themes, and everything's working and there's no friction for you, I never advise changing a website just for the sake of change, right? But if there's something you're trying to fix or you're trying to like really modernize the appearance and you want to use something that, is that breaking item, well, then it makes sense. But don't change just for the sake of changing, especially if what you got is working.
Yeah. Marcus agrees. If it's not broke, no need to fix it. Good advice. I say the same for Yamahas. Kurt, do you have anything to say about Yamahas?
I think he's messing with me. That's the Yamaha logo right there. I don't know. He's been following me on the beach.
Nice.
Carlson has a great question.
I'd like to work at LifterLMS. How can I get in touch? I guess I don't know if we're going through a hiring process right now. Help@lifterlms.com is always, I guess, the place to get in touch. Help@lifterlms.com. Do I have a banner for that? I think the best place, the way that I started working at LifterLMS was I would make YouTube videos and tutorials. So if you see questions in the Facebook group, you make a YouTube video to reply to it, or someone asks a question, you reply to questions. That's honestly how people work at Lifter. It's just getting engaged with the community. So engaging with the community, answering questions, creating content that's helpful. Like that's how Rocco, our like top tier developer, got involved with Lifter like 7 years ago or whatever. Like that's how Kurt got involved, showing up at the office hours mastermind calls, and then like just slowly getting involved over time, answering questions in the Facebook group, getting involved in the community. That's like the best advice I have for getting involved with working at Lifter is engage in the community at a high level and add that value. We get email applications very frequently about like, hey, can I work at the company? And it's like, when there's a hiring process, Chris will go out in the community and do interviews in that way. But the people who really stand out are the ones who engage in the community a lot. So that's some honest, good advice, I think. What do you think about that, Kurt?
Well, that's how I'm here. I was a customer, and I just got involved in the mastermind calls and contributing a little bit. I ended up on a couple of podcasts, and next thing you know, Chris was saying, "Hey, do you want to help out on some of the live calls and help our customers with onboarding and stuff?" And yeah, it just came together. It's I want to be careful how I say things, right? But like so many times, brands that are really iconic, brands that are awesome, the outside world has the appearance that it's much bigger than it really is, right? So for example, I used to work for Ducati, and people that know the brand Ducati know it as this like ubiquitous red motorcycle that's just everywhere. And you think it's this huge, huge company because of the brand awareness. But in reality, in America, there's like 30 people in the office. It's not what you think it is. And Lifter is very much like that. Lifter is one of these, it's a big brand and a lot of people know who it is. And in the e-learning space, it's getting more and more well known. But realistically, it's a small team.
Yeah, for sure. And Marcus said I did over 200,000 KMS on an R1.
Kilometers on an R1. So an R1 was one of the first new bikes I'd bought in a long time. I bought it in 2002, and I bought the liquid silver one. I waited forever to get the liquid silver, limited edition they called it back then. And then a year later, everybody had a silver R1 and nobody could find a red and white one. I should have got a red and white one. I loved my R1. I once rode an R1 from Denver, Colorado to Birmingham, Alabama, and back to Denver, Colorado in a 4-day weekend so I could cover the World Superbike event that was at Barber Speedway. I got a lot of miles on the R1.
Nice. I don't have much to contribute on the topic of motorcycles, but I do have a new question from, I think this is from YouTube.
It's much more appropriate.
This is a helpful feature. Let me see. This was on a video about how to create a question bank in WordPress with LifterLMS. Question banks for LifterLMS Advanced Quizzes just rolled out. So anyone with an Infinity bundle, anyone with LifterLMS Advanced Quizzes has access to question banks. So a question bank feature, maybe we should share this, actually. I'm going to start talking about it, but I should just show it. Why talk when I could show how this works? So if I go back to the courses area, I think I have advanced quizzes installed. Let's see if I do. Open up this. Let's make a quiz on one of my lessons. I do. Okay. Okay, cool. I have advanced quizzes installed. The LifterLMS Advanced Quizzes add-on allows you to add new question types. So this is in the free core LifterLMS plugin, there are these 3 basic question types. And then in the Advanced Quizzes add-on, you have access to these other question types like reorder pictures, reorder items, long answer, short answer, things like that. And you also now have access to question banks as a feature of LifterLMS Advanced Quizzes, where we can say, pull this many random questions. So if I put 30 questions in my quiz and I want to pull 10 of those questions randomly, I would put 10 here. And then I could also limit the number of questions per type. So if I have maybe 10 multiple choice questions, 10 true false questions, and 10 picture choice, and I want to pull like 3 of each type, I can do that by checking this box and saying I want 3 of the picture choice ones, 3 of the multiple choice ones, 3 true false. And what I really like about this is that if we only put 3 multiple choice question types in here, then it would pull 3 out of 3. So if I have 3 multiple choice, it would get those 3. And then I have 10 true false, it's going to get 5 of the 10. So you could have certain questions that everybody gets as a part of their quiz, and you could then mix them up. So like everyone's going to get these 3 questions for multiple choice, and then it's going to be a random 5 out of 20 from the true false, for example. And so you can really curate. Some questions are really important for everyone to see, and some questions we're going to pull some random stuff out of the bag. That's what I'm really excited about with this feature. And
boom. I think the question bank is an amazing addition right now, considering how many people asked for question banks in the last 6 months.
Right. And
like I don't know where the energy came from on that, but like because every now and then you would get it, but over the last 6 months, it really ramped up, and it seems like really good timing to come out with that.
Yeah, and this question is like, can we have a master question bank across our entire website that that will pull into the quizzes independently? So if I have like 300 questions on my website, I want to pull 10 into each of my quizzes randomly. That's not possible currently, but what I'd recommend to create that setup would be to have the 300 quiz question and then just clone that quiz on each of your lessons you want to pull the quiz into, and then just do 10 of the question bank. Because LifterLMS has a feature to clone the, and Marcus asked a question here that's pretty good. We'll dive into it in a second. Is the you can add an existing quiz, and so you can clone. So I've already created this quiz, but I can clone it. So if I have my 300 question quiz that I put a lot of effort into, I can just clone it on a bunch of my lessons. A little bit of manual work. Whenever you were to update your quiz, you would have to go update it wherever it is on your website. But that's a cool feature, the question bank option. And Marcus Carter's bike was a 2003 Yamaha.
That was the second year that motorcycle was fuel injected. And although they advertised them with much more horsepower, most of them only made about 128 to 131 horsepower at the rear wheel.
Nice.
That bike rode amazing wheel stands. I could wheelie that bike for a quarter mile.
Wow. That would be a good LifterLMS commercial. Like you're like, you got your laptop up while doing a wheelie on a Yamaha.
Oh, yeah. And I rode that bike in Colorado a lot, and the police in Colorado were super cool. It was a fun place to live. I also see that he had an RD350. Now, I raced an RZ350 in Wira for multiple years. I think from 87, 87, 88, 89. I rode an RZ350 in Wira. Kenny Roberts edition. See, this just turned into a motorcycle broadcast. We got to come up with more. Got to come up with more stuff. Actually, in the background, what I was doing, which is totally probably not cool, was I was fixing a website with the white screen of death. And I went into this client's website, and they must have 137 plugins in there, Will. But one of them was labeled by Blog Vault as being vulnerable, so I uninstalled it, I reinstalled it, and the website's back to life. So that's something that I think is interesting, because if we look at the structure of LifterLMS, Cadence, and a very popular CRM tool, they require a lot of installs for the add-ons, because they're done in a structure that's like add-on, not like a giant plugin that takes up a bunch of stuff, but you put in the core, and then you put in the features that you want. And sometimes that intimidates people, but managing it, especially if you have tools like Blog Vault or other tools, it can get really simple to try and manage some of those plugins, so you don't have to be worried about it.
Yeah, like LifterLMS is one of those examples where we have the LifterLMS core plugin and then like
Tons of stuff, yeah.
13, 15, some amount of add-ons. And so like if you're not using advanced quizzes, you don't need to have that plugin weighing down your website. But if you are going to leverage that functionality, you can add that feature. LifterLMS Labs is a free plugin that LifterLMS has. That's one of these useful tools with some features that not every LifterLMS user works with, but as a good set of tools. So we use this one all the time, LifterLMS Labs, when we're getting into more custom setups on LifterLMS office hours. We talk about this one a lot, where you install the free plugin and it adds a new option called Labs under LifterLMS. And these are options. So not every LifterLMS user works with Divi, so we don't need to put that in the core plugin. But if you are working with Divi, LifterLMS Labs can help you with compatibility. Same with Beaver Builder. The Action Manager allows you to remove certain items from maybe your course catalog. If there's a little instructor picture that shows up, I think, on the courses area. Let's see. Yep. So you got this little instructor picture. If we said, I don't want the instructor picture on there for whatever reason, we could use the Action Manager feature of LifterLMS Labs to say the catalogs, I would like to remove the author. And it's a little bit counterintuitive how you check the box to remove the thing. So we're going to check the box and the author is going to disappear. It's like saying yes to no is kind of confusing, but what it basically is doing is adding a little filter so that it's going to say when you load the course catalog, load the little filter to remove the author as a part of that. So it's like turning on filters, and those filters remove the feature, is kind of those checkboxes and what they do. Marcus asked a question in chat. Is the ConvertKit the email integration on LMS? And I just saw the plugin on there. Yeah. So LifterLMS has 2 email integrations out of the box, or as a part of the package, with the Universe bundle or the Infinity bundle. Maybe I should pull it up. I just default to like start talking about stuff rather than pulling up the pages where I could talk at the same time. So on the LifterLMS pricing page, as a part of the Universe and Infinity bundle, somewhere on here there's MailChimp and ConvertKit. Email marketing, yep, there it is. And so these integrations use an API key, like we talked about earlier, from either MailChimp or ConvertKit to send data to those platforms when people sign up on your LifterLMS website. So if they sign up for a course or membership, they can check a box to say, I want to sign up for marketing material. And then it tells MailChimp, here's the email of the user, they signed up for this course. And then you could, in MailChimp or ConvertKit, put them in certain lists. You could give them certain tags and things like that. So you can email them certain offers that are only for people in that course. So that's what the ConvertKit and LifterLMS extensions do. So you'd have to have a MailChimp or is MailChimp? Oh wow, I thought MailChimp had a capital C. Very cool. Well, yeah, so MailChimp or ConvertKit will offer those features for you as an integration. I have Earth. Oh yeah, the Earth bundle. I don't know if those are included in the Earth bundle. I haven't been paying a lot of attention. Are they in the Earth bundle? I don't think they are. Infinity Earth is this one. Yeah, no, I don't think they are, unfortunately. Yeah, those 2 aren't included in the Earth bundle currently. The Earth bundle just includes the stuff in the core plugin. It includes the Stripe and PayPal and WooCommerce and Authorize.net. And so it's really the one that includes all the payments. So the Earth bundle is a good way to get Stripe and PayPal at a discount, is kind of how I look at it, if you want to do both on the same website. But cool, I guess we're about at the hour now, so we should probably...
That was a quick hour, dude.
Yeah, that was a quick hour. We had a lot of great questions coming in, and Petra has a last question. Have to watch out in Germany with MailChimp and ConvertKit, GDPR planning to use MailerLite. Yeah, the GDPR thing is good. With the Lifter extensions, they have to check the box in order to be added to MailChimp or ConvertKit. That's a frustrating feature for some users, is they're like, my ConvertKit users aren't being added to my ConvertKit list, even though I've sold 5 people into the course. And it's because they didn't check the box to checkout. They have to actually opt in. And that was designed for GDPR stuff, because if users don't opt in and you send the data somewhere else and they don't know about it, it's problematic with GDPR. So MailerLite is a solid solution. I'd recommend checking out WP Fusion for MailerLite. You might be able to do, I don't know, like, I don't think Zapier is currently functional for that. So maybe like WP Fusion for MailerLite integration is what I would check out. WP, I'll put that in your chat, WP. Yeah, Kurt, I guess you have any final words for the audience before we sign out?
Well, I hate to sound like a commercial, but you know, Groundhog works in the back end of your website and it's GDPR compliant right out of the box, and the price stays the same no matter how many users are in it. So it's worth taking a look at.
Nice. Well, thanks everyone for joining on this week's live stream. We'll be live again next week. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.